How will you fuel your IQ? Welcome to the New Spirit Radio Show by the Society of Novus Spiritus, founded by world-renowned spiritual teacher Sylvia Browne. Today's date should be December 11th of 2024. Coming to you live from California, both NorCal and SoCal are your hosts, Reverend Tom Bigley and Reverend Catherine Taylor, playing audio segments we call Messages from Spirit. Why? Helping you understand the fundamental question, what are we here for?
These segments are recorded trance sessions from Francine, Sylvia's spirit guide. So for new people, Sylvia was a full trance medium, which means Sylvia contracted to let her and Francine's essences exchange places in Sylvia's, and another driver gets in. And this allowed Francine to share spiritual knowledge with us directly from the other side.
On occasion, another master teacher and healer, a guide named Rahim, would exchange with Sylvia and present us with spiritual information as well. Francine and Rahim shared directly from sources like the Akashic Records, Mother and Father God, our spirit guides, Christ, and many others.
And meanwhile, during trance, Sylvia would sit on a nice bench on a rose garden on the other side.
And here are our hosts, Reverend Catherine Taylor and Reverend Tom Bigley.
Hello, how's it going?
We are going. That's good. Good to see, good to hear, and welcome everyone. Whether you're watching us live or watching the repeats, as it were, or replays. Glad everybody made it. Want to find out? No, I want to share a brief outline for those of you that are new. Why do these go on so long? I want to make sure you're aware of what all of the fun activities are, things that we share, and things that we want to help you learn about. First, we talk about announcements, and then we'll get into how did you use Novus Spiritus philosophy in the last week or so. And if you're familiar with that, now's a good time to start posting in the comments. How did you use it? How has this helped you? That's followed by special prayers, a moment of silence, and then we get into the trance segments. Yes, we've got 3 segments for today. That's followed by a meditation by Sylvia. Then I talk about some closing notes, and then a little bit later we have the novena. It's a private. No, it's a prayer. It is a prayer ceremony, special prayer ceremony that everybody's welcome to participate in. And I'll talk about that later. Then I follow that by what are we going to be appreciative of? And then we conclude with a prayer by Sylvia.
Fantastic.
So first on the agenda, well, we're going to do this first hello, lighting a candle. Fire starter. That's what and wherever you are, if it's a safe place for you to light a candle, by all means light a candle. Otherwise, grab one of those flickery fun things and turn it on as well. Just like, yep.
Fantastic.
Let's see some quick announcements. Again, welcome to all the new subscribers and followers. Hey, would you like to help promote this content? Well, on Facebook, share, like, and follow. On YouTube, please do subscribe, give those thumbs up, and click on the bell. That way you'll get notified, and a lot of other people will get notified as well. And where are we? So far, I see 0 thumbs up on YouTube, so I'm encouraging you, if you would, give some thumbs up on there. That helps get that information out. And, same with Facebook, share, like, and follow. If you'd like to donate to Novus Spiritus for whatever reason, yes, there's a variety of reasons. To donate, you can go to our website, and at this moment, it sounds like PayPal has changed their how they process things. So at the moment, you can't do credit card directly, but you can call the office if you really want to, use the credit card. Otherwise, it's Venmo and PayPal is being offered at this time. Shows, upcoming shows. Yes, next Wednesday, we should be having our regular show, and then after that becomes the holidays. So there's no show December 25th and January 1st, and then the next, so it'll be like, hey, see you next year. The next show following the holidays should be January 8th. Oh, here we go. Don't miss out on Chris question specials and get email notifications. You can do that by going to the website at chrisrightnow.com. Getting a reading with Chris Dufresne can be that hindsight for your future. Here's a fun question. When's the best time to plant a tree? 10
When?
years ago. Yeah, when? 10 years
Oh.
ago. When's the second best time to plant that tree?
Now?
Today, exactly.
Today.
So get the seeds today from a reading to plant for your future.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Facebook users, be seen in chat by clicking and accepting the permissions on that link you see in the description. It's not us, it's something about Facebook wants you to approve some connection or something with our service. So yeah, go to the link in the description. That covers those things. Now we like to follow, feel free, move forward, do something. We're going to talk about how did you use Novus Spiritus philosophy last week. And I'm excited here about how our listeners use the philosophy. However, I am going to give you, Kat, the choice. Who goes first? 'Cause I did my homework.
Okay. I would love to hear what you used over the last week or so.
Glad I prepared.
Fantastic.
Yes, I got an inspiration, and yes, I got on my phone and typed it in. And I'm hoping this articulates well, that I get the concept across that came to mind. I've noticed for me, using the philosophy, different things that we've been discussing and talking about. But I also remember I've talked about how Novus philosophy is like a puzzle, and you get a whole bunch of pieces, and each one's exciting, and then oh my gosh, one connects a whole bunch of pieces of puzzles, and you go, the next, like, oh my gosh. And yes, that follows along our climbing the mountain of self. We talk about that analogy of climbing the mountain of self. Well, it for me, it feels like my emotions have adjusted and improved at the get up and go, giving myself that choice, stopping and saying, okay, I don't feel like doing this, but okay, do I want to do this? And 9 times out of 10, it's like, okay, let's get up and let's get moving, and it's kind of like that ugh feeling brushes off. And what's interesting is I've spoken in the past about, I haven't had that, me personally haven't had that ritual that many cultures have of, the boy to a man type of ritual. And that's the kind of thing I'm like, still think I'm working through. Well, what came to mind, and some of these fun ideas that came to mind was, that has also helped me with deciding, hey, I got to get up and go, is I've thought about the rescuer risking their life. Joseph Campbell talks about this in the hero's, I think it's the hero's journey. He says, what makes that rescuer dive off the edge of a cliff to grab someone's hand, risking their own life? And the next spark that came to mind was Mystical Traveler. For those people, those of us that have taken on that mantle and asked the Mystical Traveler, as a Gnostic, we're seeking after our own truth. I'm seeking after my own truth. And what came to mind with that idea of that rescuer diving off the cliff, that's what we need to do as mystical travelers, is have that, not that we're going to be asked to dive off a cliff, but participate in life with that same fervor as that rescuer diving off the cliff to rescue somebody. So that's what I've been
Oh,
thinking about.
excellent. One moment while I panic to find my plug-in. I will BRB as I panic in this chair. Okay.
Anyway, that was my how do you say,
Oh,
several
dear.
puzzle
It's
pieces.
gonna be interesting.
You're fine. Well, she's getting herself back in order again, and we'll be ready here in a short time. However, think about that. That'll be fun to hear from you and the listeners. How did you use Novus Spiritus philosophy, and do you relate to the idea of, as mystical traveler, or hold on, sorry, I muted you for a moment.
I'm glad you did. Speaking of diving off
Yes.
to problem solve, I saw my screen go dark and I was like, no, that is not going to happen right now.
Wow, because the screen stayed on the whole time. We could see you. The camera stayed on.
It was like the low power mode screen, like where it just
I get it.
darkens. Yeah, it didn't go black.
Oops. Okay.
Oh my gosh. So something must have gotten knocked off, knocked askance. So that was interesting. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Say panicked.
There you go. Well, fun. Did you even hear what I'm joking, but did you even hear what I was talking about?
After I took my earbuds out, it was just panic mode.
Okay.
But I thought it was hilariously like tied in a little bit of like talking about a mystical traveler having to dive in to fix something.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
How fun.
It's like, I'm going to be diving over this chair in a minute.
There you go. There you go. Do you think you solved it?
Yes, I see that
Okay.
the battery reflects correctly that my laptop is plugged in, and we are good to go.
Cool. All right. Well,
It's like, this is not happening. No.
take a moment, and I'm pointing at you this time. How did you use Novus Spiritus philosophy?
Well,
Or what do you want to share?
Sure. I was doing some work on my business. I'm a small business owner. I have my own private practice, and I really, really like it. But I was reflecting on how I have come to think about wealth and prosperity over time, and how my attitudes have shifted, and including how I end up talking to other people in my life about how to think about things. And I remember somebody like encountering somebody in person years ago, saying that people will sometimes be reacting and interacting with wealth from having been in lots of poverty in past lives.
Mm-hmm.
In past lives. And I was like, okay. So I was thinking about, I was thinking this week about how we heard discussed on the trances once about how prosperity isn't a bad thing, and that it exists so that people can strive for it. And if it was bad, it wouldn't be there as something to strive towards.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of casually reflecting, and then all of a sudden I just had this, because there's parts of prosperity that I'm still uncomfortable with and I'm still working on for myself. But as I was just sitting there and I was thinking about that, I had this flashback recollection of a past life meditation that I'd done like years ago that I had forgotten about. And it just came back just very crystal clear. And I recalled in this past life meditation being in like sub-Saharan desert, just absolute complete poverty, like sticks and stones poverty, right?
Yeah.
Having a goat was just the most incredible wealth. Just having a goat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and just I just recall this feeling of sitting with the desert and being in the desert and just reflecting on needing how just like even the smallest thing is just like, oh, this is all I need. Oh, just this one thing is all I need, even though I had absolutely nothing more than just dirt and sand and a goat and sticks for a hut. It was like I I was just awash with this recollection, and I was thinking to myself, wow, because I've always loved reading about desert cultures. I've always felt very like, oh, that's amazing. I love reading about desert cultures and really finding the beauty in them. But I am grateful to my spirit guide or to whatever angels were involved in that recollection, just as a reminder that, so it's something that I can continue to work on letting go of. Like I don't need to have that mentality of like being surrounded by things and feeling like, oh, this is too much, or like, oh, I don't deserve this, or just like all the things that come with poverty. And I wanted to bring that up because like when Sylvia whenever Sylvia has talked about how many past life readings she did with people, she's like the only famous person she ever had was some economist in England from like 1700s or something, right? Just everyone has had lives of caveman times. Everyone has had lives of poverty. Everyone's had this experience of having nothing. And I think that it is a good exercise to envision what would your current now, if you planted a seed, if you planted a tree, what could things look like if you flexed an entrepreneurial spirit inside yourself, because we do have more to work with.
Yeah.
Is there an entrepreneurial side of yourself that's like, what if I had a small business? What if I had a side business? What if I created something and sold it on Etsy? Would there be something, would there just be more prosperity? What would that look like? And prosperity isn't only finances, it is also prosperity of friendship, it's prosperity of spirituality.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up because I think it is something that's pretty universal to the human experience by and large, which is that money is tough. money is tough, but we also have had a lifetime of experiences with it.
Yes.
And might be some things there to release.
Exactly. Resistance too that may not be in our conscious mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Cool.
that was on my
That's
mind.
fun because it's not all about the materialism. It's also I've been hearing some other people speaking about the value of friendship for what's the right way to say that? For your personal, it's that does it's the friendships and the community interaction you have is a better healer than eating right and supplements and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Not to be cliche, but love is a strong. It's like the ultimate healer in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Not to be cliche, but it's true. Yeah. How many times have I had a low point and then just like pushed myself like, just go hang out with a loved one and you'll feel better. And inevitably it does help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So
I with all our sharing, I would expect the internet might have crashed with people posting on the comments.
We've got some wonderful comments. A few new names and many old friends. I'm so happy to see you all. Brenda on Facebook, hello. Kristen on Facebook shares, I did a past life with Sylvia where I was a young 13-year-old Indian boy and my son was my little brother. And we were going to die and there was no food or water, just dirt poor. Oh, yeah. My heart goes out.
How does that, do you feel that's influencing you now, or is it just a recollection and what's the word, appreciation for the experience? If you're feeling like it's influencing you in some negative fashion, those are the kind of things you can pester your, I want to say pester your spirit guides. And we've been listening about the angels. They can help you resolve those issues, help those get rinsed away, as it were.
And
yes,
we're going to hear today about a specific phylum of angels that is extra good with cell memory, like this, what we're talking about right now.
Oh, okay, fun. Who else is sharing?
All right, we've got over on Facebook, Tangela says, hello. She says, I've been asking the seraphim angels to help me remember my dreams. Only after I let go of the asking did I have a dream that I remembered. That's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations. Just keep practice. Keep practice. Over on YouTube, they're having a wonderful conversation over there about cookies and using holy water in the recipe. Girlfriends, okay. I love you all. Marvelous. I love it.
I can, okay, here. Add some CBD oil in there too, and you'll really have something. Oh my God.
I love the creativity. It's so cute.
I don't know if we should be putting THC, but if we're just gonna add stuff, then let's really make a.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. Okay. Since you brought it up, I will share the best of my recollection about what Raheem has said about THC and marijuana. It's like that those substances were put here by God intentionally for pain relief, and abuse of anything can lead to really, really negative consequences, and being wide open to negativity, and that repeated use of cannabis can lead to an erosion of your mental faculties. So those are the things that I recall him saying. But at the same time, those things are here for pain relief, and okay, no judgment. All right.
For humorous humorous anecdotes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Miss LJ, it's wonderful to see you over on YouTube. She says, I have allowed my spiritual philosophy to lighten and listen to my spirit guide. I no longer lead myself, but instead listen to where I can be of service for others. That is a marvelous shift. I remember feeling a similar shift in myself where I had been so focused in my younger years on like, what do I do for me? What do I do for me? What do I do for me? And there was a shift that really was useful for my overall well-being, where I was like, what's going to be the best use of me going forward? And that externalization really helped me kind of get out of certain spirals in my head. So good for you.
Yeah.
Esteban over Facebook says, I've been thinking about how simple the philosophy is and how the world likes to complicate everything. Mm-hmm. Good to mull on. Gardens shares, I wrote a petition to Mother God with a white candle, and I reminded my family members to also write petitions. My parents enjoyed this ritual, and I asked for a sign within 2 weeks. Marvelous. God bless. It's marvelous.
Speaking of,
yes,
I've put it in the spot, and I've forgotten to mention it. I should have put it in the announcements. It's, hey, who has and what did you ask for in your petitions for Mother Asna's feast day that was last Sunday. Yeah,
Sunday.
last Sunday was Mother Aslan's feast day. That's the time that is normally it's celebrated. However, yes, I did the Sunday service prior to that, and at the feast day Sunday service I did prior to that. But it's fun to hear, what people are asking about, what kind of things are you expecting, and write it down.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely thanked Asna for the last year, because my last year's petition, I had petitioned. It's like, please, can you give me some help with anxiety? Like, please, please. And and the the sign that I asked for came about 2 weeks later, saying, like, giving an affirmation that she could help me with that. And it has got, like, the anxiety levels that I have gotten substantially better. So I was like, thank you, Mother Asna. So I look forward to hearing what people's experiences have been. Miss LJ asks, please keep me in your prayers, everyone. I'm wearing a zeal patch for my heart starting today for 7 days. I had a stress test today, so please keep me in your prayers. Thank you in advance. I'll be very, very happy to, Miss LJ. You're a light, and it's always wonderful to have you here and see you. Kristen shares, yes, petitions for Mother Asna's feast day. Petitioned and lit them on fire and placed the ashes in my garden. Marvelous. Jorge shares, I asked Asna for my veterans benefits case to go through for the best, and for the best for my sister and the best for the USA and the world. Marvelous. Ramona, hello. She says, I made a list of words and gave meaning to each one, then burned it right before midnight. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for your comments. Look forward to continuing to read them and having a marvelous discussion with everybody as we go. And I think it might be time for special prayers and getting into our exciting trances tonight.
Cool. All right. Now's the time we'd like to ask people to ask viewers and viewers, regardless of when you're watching, to participate in our special prayer. What we're asking for is we're going to ask for Mother God, the archetypes, archangels, and even our spirit guides, and anyone those that don't fit on my fingers. We're going to ask them to get involved and help people that have come to mind. Have come to mind to us. And I encourage you, visualize what that outcome is. What is it that you'd like to see resolved? How would you like it to see it resolved? See the after effect that those people have been resolved, helped, or in some fashion they're moving forward. So let's take a moment of silence, and we're going to ask for all that energy to get out, and regardless of when you're watching this. So a moment of silence. Amen.
Amen.
That includes the petitions to Mother God's feast day. We did that. We said that. Okay. Oh, that includes the special prayers. Yes, if you're posting in the comments, that is a public, exposed to the public kind of thing. If you're looking to do a private prayer request, you can go to the website and look for the prayer chain and post it on there. Also, I like to ask, be the prayer. If you see a need, fill it. We have, what's up next? Well, I think we're going to be heading into our trance segments. Does that sound like the right thing to do?
It sure does.
Cool. Well, in that case, if you're streaming challenged, we do have a conference call number that you can call in and listen on while we are live. And the number is 888-534-2696. That way you can listen on the phone while we are live. I do appreciate that you do stay muted so that everybody else that's on there as well gets to listen. Yep, that means it's time for trance segments.
Okay, excellent. So we're continuing to talk about angels. And this is a new talk. We're going to start by listening to Sylvia actually talking to the salon attendees. So that'll be really nice to hear her voice and personality coming through. So Sylvia starts by talking about virtues angels. Virtues can make last-minute edits to charts without council approval. And then Francine is going to start trance and talk about how the virtues edits are small modifications and what kinds of things qualify for something that a virtue would do.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Enjoy.
Their stone is bloodstone. Their wings are maroon. And this also interests me. They're overseer of good and record deeds. Isn't that cool? And that's all I know about it. I just know that the only thing she said about virtues, I'll let her tell you, but she did say, because I was so enthralled with it, because I was going through writing and editing. Okay, so I'll go into trance, but I was just interested in helps with the chart. She did say that they are the ones, she can go into this better, but I just want to get in on, because I always feel like I have to leave the party. I'm so depressed with that. Is that she says that when we are at the very, very portals of entering, when we go behind the shield, the one that Angelia saw when they told her she couldn't go in. Mm-hmm. That's where the virtues really come in. They're the ones that really are the sentinel figure that give you the last minutes going over your chart. They're not in it from the beginning, but they're the last minute people. Do you know what I mean? In other words, are you sure? Do you want to change anything? That would be you. That would be you. You sure? You could be a Dominion.
All right, goodbye.
Yeah. So in other words, you want to tweak your chart, you want to elongate a little bit, you want to do anything, you want to change it. They're the ones that have the power to tweak it then. That's your last station. Okay? And they don't have, I thought this was very interesting. They don't have to go to council for approval. Very interesting, I think. I'm going to let her talk. I'm just saying hypothetically, it's probably no big thing, but I could be wrong, so she'll probably tell me I was wrong, so.
Okay, tonight, welcome, Francine.
Thank you. Tonight we're going to talk about the virtues and dominions. You heard what Sylvia said. Are there any questions to start out with? Because I'm going to go on a full roll. Is there any questions that you should start out with? Let's start with the virtues. Yes.
The virtues, it says they help with the chart.
Yes.
And Sylvia said it was right before we came in. We could make changes in the chart. What about after we're in?
No. This is very interesting because it's sort of like if you're going on a trip, is there any last minute changes you want to make? And she's also right, they're not big changes. It's very likely that you would say, oh, and the other thing I forgot was to tell you to water the plants. I want to tell you that to feed the cat. I don't want to be mundane about this, but it would not be any great specific such as, you mean I I really have decided I don't want to meet so and so. I don't want to have that certain accident. Do you see what I mean? In other words, it would not be the big points, but it certainly could be modified points. In other words, let's take the accident, for instance. Even though Sylvia says you can modify that in life, there's where the great modification comes. You would be more apt to say, okay, I did chart for an accident and I wanted to have my leg broken because I really needed to rest and I didn't know how. You might change your mind at the last moment and say, I'll sprain my ankle. Do you see what I mean? In other words, you're modifying. You're not changing the actual action, but you're changing maybe the pain level or the extended time that you would need to recover, or that you didn't need that much rest. Now, that doesn't mean they wouldn't argue with you. They would argue with you. They don't descend with you, strangely enough. They're one of the few, if not the only phylum that doesn't descend. Now, the principalities don't descend unless, we'll get into that later, descend unless you call them. As we get into the higher phylums, they don't descend. You find that the cherubim, the seraphim, don't descend either. They can be near you and sing, but as you get into the, I don't want to say lower phylums, but the beginning phylums, they are more the descending, the archangels, the angels, and you know the Carians are always around. But as you get into the thrones, the powers, they won't. Do you see what I mean? They're more apt to, they will come if you call them, but the dominions do not. They are the recorders, they are the helpers of the chart, so they stay pretty much within their dimensional realm. Now, you see, the minute I say dimensional realm, that sounds confusing because their dimensional realm is all around you. So when I say descend, it sounds like they're coming from up high, coming to you. I should, to make it more apt, they can't move laterally towards you that much. So they stay within their own quadrant. That would be a better way to put it. And the quadrant, as you know, is a specific area in which houses certain skills, such as animal husbandry. As you know, it relates very much to the different levels. They also will be the bearers of information fed directly to myself or any guide that might need an extra help in guiding. If we can't always get to counsel, there's sort of a level of, I don't know the word.
Go-between?
No.
Liaison?
No, there is a level of protocol that many times, now if I'm very worried, I will go directly to counsel. But if it's something that needs just maybe adjusting or I don't know about, I will go to them. You see what I'm saying? I will go to them and ask them, what should I do about this? Or could you give me some help? Because they really are, let's say, the keepers of the chart. They have an awful lot of access to the chart as well as counsel does. But sometimes you don't want to always bother counsel with some, let's say, minor detail, although I've gone to them with big details too.
So, food for thought.
Definitely. So talking about virtues angels, and I think it's interesting that we can argue with angels. It doesn't seem like it would necessarily be, I don't know, this is interesting. Like, I wonder what an angel would say that I would have to argue with them over. It's just
Well,
curious.
one thought comes to mind is yelling and screaming about in frantic panic about adjusting our chart, or
Mhm.
in frustration over a circumstance or a situation of, hey, you know why can't you adjust this, why can't you fix this, why can't you help me in some fashion. And that's just being human, in the middle of like a I don't know, explosive frustration in a
Mhm.
circumstance where something horrific or very unjust has happened to us. We'd want to say, "Hey, fix this," kind of thing. I've done it. It's like, "Hey, what's going on?" The computer goes blank on you in the middle of like like what you were dealing with now. Hey, what the heck's going on here? And uh, um, it's coming up. Or yes, places for us to vent frustration, but also ask, hey, how can you help me out here? What's my next step? What could I do? And see what kind of things come to mind.
Mhm. I so if it's so just to recap for everyone who's listening, the virtues are like when they're making a small edit. Francine described that they'll still argue with us, say like, do you really
Are
want to
you
do that? Just to
sure? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
are you sure? And I guess sounds like they'll have some reasoning behind that, and the modifications are it's like it sounds like it's more like modifying the intensity that something is happening within the chart rather than like knocking
Yeah.
off entire
Right.
legs of experience. It's just like how intense of an experience are we going with? So, Kitty, you are being very active. All right. Um. All right. Let
What
me
are
look.
what are share
Mhm.
with comments? Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Ramona says all the file of angels are so amazing, as in his army to protect and help us. Yeah, absolutely. It is amazing to hear all of their different roles and just the incredible amount of diversity of jobs that they all have. It's really interesting. Um, Also, apparently have a meteor shower this weekend on Friday and Saturday, all over the United States. If you
Oh,
peek outside, so thank you to Miss LJ for giving us a peek there. And Garden says asking angels to modify our chart so it isn't so intense is a very good thing. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it is interesting. So it's right before. It sounds like this happens right before we go down the chute, so to speak, into life, where we're just there with a virtue angel, and if there's any last things that's on our mind, we can just have a conversation with them real quick. Like, hey, actually, and like the example she says, like that break of a broken ankle, let's turn that into a sprain. And so a this is a helper that we interact with more on the other side rather than in life. Um, which is very
cool.
interesting. Yeah, very cool. So maybe we could listen in for our next segment then.
All right. Let me share this.
Okay. We have virtues, angels, line. So next segment, we're going to talk about virtues, angels line the tunnel before people pass away. IQ on the other side is referred to as fuel, apparently, which is pretty cool. It's always a band of angels that visits somebody. It's not just one angel. It'll be a whole band. But if they're in human form, it'll usually be just one angel. So that would be the exception, is if an angel shows up in human form, where that would just be a one entity showing up.
Sounds like a fraternity. What is it? A fraternity initiation when you go from here to the other side if they're all lined up on surrounding the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. We're gonna hear
Yeah.
about it. Here we go.
All right.
They also have the power to call in as well as you do, for God's sake, literally for God's sake. But with a snap of their finger, they can call in their minions. So I've gone to them before and said, as your guides have done, they need extra help, whether it's financially, whether it's health-wise, and they seem to delineate what level of angels I might need at that point. I might be apt to call on thrones, and maybe what I need is principalities. So they have a tremendous, let's call it brother or sisterhood, that they can, we've always said, flick a feather and somebody comes. And there's nothing better than getting your own phylum to call you. You know, not that we're ever looked upon as being lower than them. In fact, put to the test, and they don't mind me saying this, the guide will outrule the angel any day. The guide is always takes precedence. Not that we always know what's right to do, but we do take precedence over the angels, and that's because we are not monofocused. If you notice, as we've gone through this, these angelic phylums are monofocused. They have usually, either they're the healers, the archangels, they're the messengers, they're the record keepers. They have their own monofocus. They have their own special thing that they do. They are also in great, I don't even want to say thousands, more than thousands of numbers that form a gateway to when you die. So they're really the heralds of the incoming and outgoing souls, more than any other angel is. They're the ones that laterally come through the tunnel. They're the ones that laterally stand at the mouth of the tunnel. And when people see angels coming, deathbed situations, even astral trips, more likely they are seeing this phylum.
As helpers in the chart, it seems like that as we're giving knowledge like cell memory and things like this, that we know we can make minor adjustments. Do we actually write our chart on a multi-dimensional level, and these angels actually help us to switch dimensions when we're ready to make those dimensional shifts within the chart? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know what you mean by dimensional shifts. I'm sorry.
I guess what I'm trying to say, do we write it on many levels and we're stuck in the physical file or the physical existence, and as the physical existence kind of lends or controls or shapes us, we go this way. But as we're given knowledge, we can have the tendency to shift up a knowledge, a level?
We can. Yeah, sort of. I think you're making it a little bit complicated, but no, let's say, let me put it in a better term, not that you're not saying it right. Let's say you have, wish to have an IQ of 120, and you've decided that for the work you have to do, you need 147 or 150. Yes, you could. And if that's what you mean, shifting dimensionally up, spiritually up, absolutely.
And they would help facilitate that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, they would help you, I don't want to say rewrite as much as elongate what you've already written. Modify, extend, but they don't ever take over the essence of it. The essence stays the same.
Do we write the possibilities? Say there's a say I have an IQ of 120, I need 160, and there's 140 and 130. Do we actually write all those, and then they kind of help us decide which one is correct?
They could, yeah. You might say that I want to get to 140, and they say, no, I'm sorry, Roger, for what you need to do, and for your acumen that you need to progress to, you're going to need 165. So they would help you with that.
They would actually help
Uh-huh.
correct that.
Or you might even go to them and say, do you think that I have enough fuel? Let's say they call it fuel over here. Do I have enough fuel to get through this?
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Francine, when we're writing our chart,
Stand up.
when we're writing our chart with counsel and guides, and are the virtues present at that time, listening and taking, not interjecting any
Which one is he talking about now?
virtues.
He's wondering if they're helpful with the chart when we
The
write.
ones that help with the chart.
No, they're only there at the beginning of your life going ready to come in. They're not there at council. They're not there with the guides. They're not there when we're hassling about who's interacting with who, what red lines, blue lines are crisscrossing.
Okay,
They're the final station.
now, it sounded to me like it was an individual angel when you said that they were there. Is it the conglomerate of the
Can be. There's always I've seen at least 10 that are going over a chart. There could be more.
Okay, that's what I was.
Yeah, there's not just one. Oh no, there's never. You're going to find that when they say band of angels, they mean that. I mean, I find it, I don't want to say humorous, but a little bit askew to say that only one angel came and visited Mary, or one angel came and visited Joseph to tell Joseph that Mary was not a loose woman, so to speak, or that Raphael addressed Mary and told her that she was carrying the Christ. No, she was visited by angels, as all Messiah-bearing or messenger-bearing females are, from Mohammedan to the Bab, Baha'u'llah. You find this all down through antiquity writing, or ancient writings. There's always the heralding of the messenger. There's always a band of angels come. You see, they sort of slipped up because in the sky above the shepherds, there was a band of angels. Why did they have the band of angels come before? Do you see what I mean? There's not just one messenger that comes. Unless they take on a human form, as we've told you. And then they will slip in and maybe address you in a human form. But as coming as angels, they will come in a band. As the Bible says, and their minions will be with you.
Not the little yellow guys, but angels, minions of angels will come. Which, seems like that would be interesting to I guess, study more on or research more on other prophets that have shown up in the recordings of I guess angelic intervention. Intervention? No, just angelic
Announcements. Yeah.
Thank you. Announcements of, hey, someone's coming. This is important. Pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know very much about this particular topic. I did see that Netflix has a new movie out about the life of Mary, and I decided to give it a watch. And I was, as a Gnostic, I was like, I was kind of fact checking some things. But I did think it was really interesting that we just very, very recently heard that it was the angel Raphael who had visited Mary and spoken with her. In the film on Netflix, it was Angel Gabriel, but like that's fine. And it was a very, very strange looking angel, very strange. But as a reminder, from everything that we've heard, when an angel does show up in like what Francine was just saying, when they show up as their angelic form, like they are beautiful and they are like emanating light. They look amazing, and and they show up as a band. And I was thinking about that too. It's like every single time I've ever had a dream about angels, it's always been a group of them. It's been always at least two. It's never been one angel coming alone in a dream, which I thought was interesting.
Cool. Well, are you going to read comments, or did you have something else you were going to share?
Sure.
While you're reading comments, I just wanted to make a quick note about the first segment. I forgot we were listening to. It was started with Sylvia and then went to Francine. So the video, the picture that we're showing says voice of Sylvia, but the latter 3/4 was actually Francine talking there. So anyway, that was my.
All good. So Jorge says, I saw my guardian angel, Jacob, tall, thin, and tan, wearing a white gown, along with my angels who were smaller, smiling, and also wearing white gowns. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Somebody asks, how do you do a house blessing? Do you recall? I
do. The basics are holy water, salt, and that's sea salt. And if you want, you can do oil as well. The basic for the structure itself, that's if you can get all the way around it, because we did an apartment complex once, and it was like a bit of a challenge to go all the way around. But the exterior to surround it, it's just sprinkling a little bit of salt as you go around and tossing some holy water as you go around the exterior of the structure, and say a blessing. Whatever is meaningful to you, whatever type of prayer or statement you want to make as going around the home. Then go inside, and in each room you can sprinkle a little bit of holy water in each of the rooms. Give it a blessing. The windowsills, tap the little holy water and tap the windowsills and say, I'm blessing and want to make shield from negativity from the exterior. So those are the basics.
Marvelous. Thank you very much. And as a reminder, on trances, they have said they have discouraged the use of sage in any of these practices. So don't burn sage. It's been used with too many negative rituals, unfortunately. Okay. Jorge says, sorry, this is a little off topic, but somehow I believe the prediction that Sylvia made for 2020 about presidents might be happening in 2025. That was specifically about one president passing away from a heart attack and another one from an assassination, and that the American people will have had enough and we won't have presidents anymore. I wish she was here for us to ask about and consult with. We do know that Earth is very, very difficult to chart, and I personally I personally recall a trance from years ago about somebody asking about secret societies, and someone asked if Donald Trump was like a positive or negative person. This is just what was happened in the trance. Okay. And Francine said, like, he's not bad, but they wish they would do more with his money at the time. And she said, and towards the end of his life, he would be completely destroyed. I don't know what that means. We don't know. Like, we just don't know. And I just have nothing but goodwill and positive wishes for all people in their various respective offices, and hope people are safe. And I love also saying, like, something Jorge said earlier, which is like, for the better good, whatever is going to be for people's best spiritual learning, and for us as a whole, may we be able to get there with as much peace as we can. So,
and it'll be interesting to see how that what transpires. I too have been keeping that in the back of my mind about the assassination, and it's like, wow, oh well, guess what? He almost got assassinated last year. So we don't know if there was some modification to keep the need, or so we'll see how things play out over time.
Yep. It's like what I can focus on is I can focus on what I'm able to do in my life, and making my voice known when it's time to either write a letter. Sometimes I've written letters to public servants. Sometimes I've called public servants' offices just to say, like, hey, this particular issue, this really, really, really,
Right.
really, really affected me.
Right.
And this is what I would like you to know. And yeah, to vote and just go about life, peacefully and
Get
with your voice.
involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get involved in your community, as well as voting and contacting your politicians and voicing your concerns.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely some things that could help us move more towards democracy and less towards some of these other problems that we're having right now. So anyway, we have a thank you for the house blessing. You're very, very welcome. Garden says, I feel my intuition works more with situations and people, but my luck with lottery tickets picking isn't quite as good.
Well, I wouldn't expect it to work, and especially for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Good conversations going on over on YouTube. It's fantastic, and
Are they paying attention to us? Or
they are paying. Oh, they're marvelous. They're
I'm just kidding.
fantastic. Fantastic.
If I was involved, me personally, if I'm involved with that kind of conversation, I'm like, I don't have the attention bandwidth to listen to trance and be typing in, and that it irritates me. Not that they're doing that. I mean, when I'm watching, when I'm participating in a conference call or a webinar or something like that, and people are chatting, and I'm like, hello, I can't pay attention to that and what I'm supposed to be, learning here. So it's like frustrating for me anyway.
Yeah.
When I see people write these documentaries in the chat, and I'm having a hard time, paying attention to what we're learning here. So anyway, that's me.
So on the topic of the lottery, let me say one thing that I revert back onto. I remember them saying at one point that luck is something that angels listen for. They listen for our wishes, and luck is actually this like thing that's up in the atmosphere, and you can ask to pull it down, so that because some people do seem to be more lucky, so you can actually like kind of do these meditations, it sounds like, to say like, I want to actually invite luck into my life, invite luck to be around me, invite luck into my chart. And then additionally, tell your angels things that you are wishing for. So if you are wishing for
Right.
money, or a car repair, or a specific thing, like you can do those things, and then get out the door and see what happens.
Yes. Well,
Fun stuff.
it's when we're learning to get over like emotional trauma or emotional what's the right word? We think we got a glass ceiling over us. Getting over that and trying to get rid of that supposed glass ceiling over us. That it's going to help encourage the idea, oh, I can ask for these things. Oh, I do deserve these things. Oh, and that it's how deep do you got to go to release your emotions,
Yes.
let your emotions get out and help one. We get reminders. I get reminders, more reminders of, oh my gosh, I should be asking for that. And we won't do that if we emotionally think we have a glass ceiling over us.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. It's good personal work right there. And we're being promised by multiple people that they can multitask and they're giggling. So we're good.
Okay.
All right. Fabulous. So for our last segment tonight, we're going to hear more about virtues can help specifically with cell memory and psychological issues. That's good to call on them for that. And then we're going to start listening about dominions angels, and these are angels that are perfect record keepers. We're going to hear about something called the Book of Life of All Mankind, and last about how dominions work with spirit guides in real time. So these two phylum of angels work with our charts in different ways, and so here we go.
All right.
Are there any other questions?
When they come in human form, do they speak, or do they just...
That's the only time they can speak. The same one that addressed Sylvia that time when she was sitting in her car crying. The angel knocked on the window.
And you said they stay in their dimension. They don't pierce our veil?
If they come... Now, the dominions don't. If you're going to get anyone, it's the lateral... I keep saying descending, which is so wrong. The lateral moving angel then will be an archangel or some of the upper, I don't want to say upper phylums, I don't want to say lower phylums, the first phylums. Let's use that term, the first phylums.
And the tunnel, when they form the tunnel, or when they
are meeting you,
the tunnel, you said they meet us at the end of the tunnel. Do they also provide some of that light in the tunnel?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're very bright.
Do they line the tunnel, or are they...
They can. They'll come. They can. I've seen them come as far down, especially if a person's frightened or they need help. I've seen them come as far as 2/3 down the tunnel. And usually when a person of great spiritual ability comes in, they'll line the tunnel. Not because they're so... well, I guess I would say elevated, yes. And it shows respect for the entity of what they've gone through. Are there any other questions about this? Now, you know what phylum we're talking about. What phylum are we talking about?
Virtues.
The virtues. Don't get it confused. Because dominion sounds like domain, and I've seen people get this confused, even on my side. So it's virtues. Yes.
So only virtues will align in the tunnels, or other angels will come too? Only virtues?
Only virtues. Only virtues. Now, once you get through the tunnel, you can see thrones, principalities, or whatever. That's why I said they're really mono-focused. Now, we've been so much into healing, so I don't want to skimp on this. You can ask the virtues to help you with your chart. They're very good about... They can't do much, as I told you, after you're in, because you've had your last-ditch effort with them. But they can certainly help with some of your cell memory. They can. So when you are dealing with something that is of a psychological nature, not a physiological, use that for the archangels and the rest of them. Or even the cherubim and the seraphim, to use their music to heal. But when it's a psychological problem, I would really call on the virtues. So something that is of a psychological problem, I would call on them to help you. And you can call on it for a spouse, a friend, loved one, very much like intellect and emotion that we've talked about so much. But call on the virtues to help send down whoever is needed at the time to help balance the intellect with the emotion for psychological problems. You know, you have a very, very, and I think Sylvia started it, cute saying when you have something that no one has seen except yourself, and you will say to your guide or someone, please flag this because I want everyone to view it on the other side. Well, the ones that do that are the dominions. They will flag it anyway, but they have perfect record keeping. They have perfect, how should I say, knowledge of, let's call it the book of life. Your book, your private scroll, Akashic records. I think sometimes if we use Akashic records, it sounds too metaphysical. I've almost gotten to the point that I like the book of life better. Which means the records of all mankind. There is a book that contains that as well as individual. Now you say, how in the world could a book be big enough? Well, it's the same thing as how can 100 angels sit on the head of a pin. There's no way to tell you in your finite mind how a book could be large enough to contain mankind's, but there is. There is a book of life that does contain this. It's not as infinitely specific as your scroll would be, but it's like history. It fits into the overall picture. If you were to read it, it reads like a marvelous book of all the intricacies and all the characters that play their parts. They not only keep that, but they keep your individual scrolls on hand. And sometimes they are absolutely needed, because sometimes, talking about our research department, we as spirit guides will, if we don't have time and there's danger or anything else, we will go directly to them and say, please give me not only the specifics of the chart, but the overview. What's the long-term effect? Switching then to the Book of Life, they'll give you the ultimate outcome. Because sometimes, to tell you the truth, the chart gets very laborious. Sometimes it's like reading a telephone book. You've got to go through all the factions and the little innuendos. And if we're in a hurry, we don't have time for that. We want to see what the outcome is, so we'll run directly to them and say, what's the outcome? What's the is this a final blow? Is this the exit point? Is this person really the person? Is my charge in danger? Even though we know the chart, there can be things, as you know, go awry. So then, like Sylvia likes to call us the nudging spirits, then we nudge back and try to infiltrate their mind to get them on the right track. I don't know if you realize how intricate this system is, that it's better than any security system you've ever seen, better than any telegraph system you would ever see, better than any intelligence that you would ever see, better than any decoding process that you would ever see in the government. We decode, we ruminate, renovate, anything we need to do to get the person's chart. Not only sometimes in our mind, you see, sometimes we get very myopic. We're so busy with the moment that sometimes we have to stop, even though we have wonderful memories. But because we're humanized, as I've told you so many times, we have to constantly be adjusted and readjusted to the chart, because it's very much like a love affair between us and our charge. And we get caught up sometimes in that, just as much as we can get caught up in the emotional hurt and pain, such as me sometimes getting caught up in Sylvia's pain and hurt, as your guides would get caught up. So we have to have sort of a cleansing, because if we weren't humanized to a certain extent, we would be no good to you. Are we elevated? Are we sanctified? Absolutely. But we have to be humanized enough. So we do call on all our charges, let's say. We'll call on virtues, dominions, archangels. Give us a hand. Record keeper, tell us what is going on.
So yes, we do get assistance. Then our guides get assistance to assist us in a hurry, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. It's fascinating. It's fascinating hearing her describe what dealing with a chart is like, and dealing with that it's just as dense as a phone book, and you have people's motivations in there, and it's factions, and like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, and it does sound absolutely horribly laborious.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, goodness gracious. So
Comments?
Yes. Ramona says, wishing everyone a better 2025. Love you all. We love you too, Ramona. Right back at you. And give people a little more time to comment.
Sure.
But yeah, so we've got these two phylum of angels, and so it's really interesting listening to how they are able to kind of have domain over different aspects of the chart creation and the chart execution, and I think it was the dominions, I think, that get called in after we pass away, and like in the instances where people start to get really, really hard on themselves and say like, oh, I did so bad, I was such a bad person, oh goodness gracious, and start really kind of falling apart, and dominions will come in and have a record of all the positives that they did.
Yeah, kind of pat us back together and say,
put the person back together, right?
Look at this.
Yeah.
Here's a plus, and that's where it reminded me of, once in a while we need reminding of our value. What have we done for other people? How have we helped others? What are, and how have we helped ourselves? How have we improved? Because it's a negative planet, and this is I've been recently reminded how this is an emotional planet, and we're it's all about emotional lessons.
All about those emotional lessons, and it is very easy to miss the mark, and it's really, really easy to beat ourselves up, especially if someone's really gone through a period of time where they just were just trying to figure stuff out, and they were pretty angry and cantankerous, and maybe not the nicest person, didn't make the nicest choices, and and we know that that sometimes people will take lives in circumstances that are very, very, very difficult, and we know that not every warrior, not every person who takes a life is a bad person. They're not, like, God made warriors too, otherwise we'd be ruled by tyrants. So there's some really, really difficult things that people can grapple with, and I think it's beautiful that there's a whole phylum of angels out there that is just dedicated to just also paying attention to every single good deed that a person has ever done, just to be there to say like, hold up, everyone makes these mistakes, and everybody, like, nobody gets it 100%, and you also did a lot right. So comments, Garden says, Ramona, we feel your love, thank you, sending right back out to everyone here too. And Ramona says, isn't it fantastic to learn new things every time we're all together? Thank you so much, Reverend Tom and Reverend Catherine. You're very, very welcome.
You're
honored
welcome.
to be here. Yes. Yeah. And last comment, Jorge says, Chris said that my mom, who passed away years ago, now works at the Hall of Records. How cool. That's very cool. That's very cool. Thank you very much for sharing that.
All right. Well, now that we've gone through all the stresses and strains of I'm just being humorous about what we've just listened to. However, yes, the stresses and strains of the previous week. Now's a good time if you want to participate in this meditation by Sylvia. Well, we do encourage listeners and well anybody doing meditation that you sit on a chair with your feet flat on the floor and you put your palms upward on your lap to receive that wonderful healing grace and blessing energy. And for those of you that need to pay attention to what you're doing, don't pay attention to us, but by all means come back and listen to these wonderful meditations in the on-demand. And if I could do two things at once, I would have picked this thing out and selected it while I was yammering about holding our hands up on our lap. All right, meditation time. Here we go. Enjoy. Find a nice place to sit upright with your feet flat on the floor and your hands upward on your lap. Palms up. Now, take 3 deep breaths to start relaxing the mind and body. When you are ready, you can close your eyes.
This is called the purple flame. I want you to breathe and let a surge of relaxation come right up through the very bottoms of your feet, cleansing out all illness. Demand to be rinsed clean of all negativity and anything that you brought over with you from a past life that is causing phobias or illnesses. From this moment on, you're going to be just as addicted as I am to spirituality. It is probably the most beautiful euphoria you will ever know. Sitting in a relaxed position, you just ask for a bubble of light to surround you. And I want you to visualize yourself sitting in the middle of a purple flame. This is engulfing you almost as if you were sitting in the center of a lotus blossom. Purple is by far the most spiritual color. Once your mind and spirit are together, your body follows suit. This purple flame rinses out any negativity or past life overlays that you are carrying. You release any past feelings of hurt, vengeance, victimization, or isolation. As this light vibrates, it cleanses sickness out of your body, mind, and spirit. Say to yourself, my spirit can never be sick. Disease is only an overlay. I now drop that from me with the power of the Holy Spirit and the Christ consciousness. Now energy comes up through the very bottoms of your feet and through your calves, your knees, your thighs, and the trunk of your body. Every organ is cured and healed. The light now travels to your shoulders, arms, hands, and fingertips. Now it comes back up to the throat, the face, the mouth, sinus cavities, eyes, even the back of your head and neck. I want you to demand that the last vestiges of any illness, phobia, or fear be released right now through the power of the Holy Spirit. From this moment on, you will get better and feel more dignity of self. You will love yourself.
And now, on the count of 3, bring yourself all the way up. 1, 2, 3. Fully and totally awake.
Gotcha.
Fantastic. Dignity of self.
Yeah, releasing of that energy of visualizing, just releasing the negativity, and I still use the I don't like saying it, the golden fence, as it were.
Yes.
Francine's meditation on where to put stuff and chuck it in the bucket, as Sylvia would tell Chris.
Chuck it in the bucket. Love it.
He used another
Outstanding.
word, but I'll
Oh,
work on that later. Sorry, I'm still recuperating from the meditation here. And in the meantime, if you have any questions about what we shared, feel free to post in chat or email us questions to newspirit@novus.org. We appreciate the listeners, both live and on demand. Show your appreciation for New Spirit Radio by sharing, promoting, liking, subscribing, whatever it needs to get. See, I still see 0 thumbs up on YouTube. That sounds kind of discouraging. Anyway,
no, I see some.
do you? Well, mine just says 1.
I see 9.
Okay, well, good. Appreciate those that are there. But I know there's more than 9 listeners on YouTube. Well, check out our websites at novus.org, sylviabrowne.com, chrisrightnow.com. Yes, we're on Facebook because I know there's people listening. And yes, you should know we're on YouTube because you're listening too. And yes, there are chat sessions on Discord that you can participate in. If you want to get some more information, learn more about our philosophy, start a study group, and you'll get a Sunday service CD, a special one, and in addition to a special newsletter. You can check that on and sign up for that on the website. Sunday services, I keep telling you more and more about what got done in the past and what could be in the future on a Sunday. So on the first Sunday of the month, I post a recording of a Sunday service with Larry and Sylvia. In addition, Las Vegas has a live Sunday service that you can either participate in or get invited to watch their on their Facebook group. You can watch the live service on the Facebook group. On the last Sunday of the month, there's a special Zoom service that you can be invited to participate in that Reverend Ellen Schloss hosts. So that's something you can investigate if you want to participate. Next is the novena. The novena is our special prayer ceremony where we are going to say a phrase together 3 times. It's not written, but you're just going to say it along with me. And that phrase is, I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. So we'll say that phrase together 3 times. I'll lead us off when we do this. And then we'll ask for something. I'll let you know what to ask for. And we're going to do that 3 times. What this originated from, it's from Francine, if I recall properly. I believe it was Francine shared this with us. And, it's a reminder that we are a spark of God. We are part of God. And we forget how much our thinking thinks that we have nothing to do with this. So this is a helpful reminder that we are a spark of God, a part of God. It also goes along with our tenet number 10, which says, let no one convince you that you are less than a God. Do not let fear imprison your spiritual growth. So I will lead us off on this. You'll just say it with me, and I want you to visualize that we're all hanging out together in the same space, holding hands together. We'll make this huge big circle. So here we go. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for yourself. Okay, here we go. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now ask for things for others. Okay, and the last one. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, picture our light going out like a beacon of light for others seeking this spiritual knowledge. And while you're using your thinking about knowledge, think about what you're appreciative of from last week and carry that thought with you throughout the next week.
Amen.
And while you're showing, and we're all talking about appreciation, show your appreciation to Francine and Raheem for researching all of this wonderful knowledge, and for Sylvia coming to this insane asylum of the universe to start this movement, and for showing us some peace of mind and grace while we're here. Asna for helping us and protecting us, and Father God for providing the most prestigious school for us to experience, learn, and satisfy our unique spark of curiosity. Appreciate Bob Ingold for helping with some of our graphics and some of the audio work. And especially for Sammy Sweet Spirit, Sammy and Javon for our theme music, our intro outro music. For the show, writing, setup, and hosting is Reverend Catherine Taylor. Editing, technical direction, and hosting is Reverend Tom Bigley. And now, a prayer by Sylvia. Maybe. All right. Prayer by Sylvia.
Prayer for spiritual baptism. Let it be known that God is not only with us, He is in us. His life is infused into all. Embrace His love as you trust that His power is real in your daily life. Let us pray. Lord, keep us in the stream of your Holy Spirit so that the flow will saturate our lives. We thank you for working in us so that we can live in you. The Spirit Himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. God's Spirit leads and convicts us. The fruit of this Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Amen.
And Kat's going to tell us.
We love you so much. I hope you take care of yourself, feel good about yourself, and have a fantastic rest of your week. Good night.
For so long we have ignored you, as if you were not there. All praise went to the Father. We were so unaware that through the years you've shed your tears for all the pain we bear. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God. You've planted every blade of grass, creator of the stars. And when I'm feeling down and out, you mend my broken heart. So now I sing this song of thanks because of who you are. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one